Well, hello, everyone. And guys, thank you for being here and having this discussion with us. Father's Day is coming up in just a few weeks. And what's unique about Father's Day this year is that it lands on Juneteenth. And some people may not know that Juneteenth is celebration of blackness, but it's also the day where the word that the Emancipation Proclamation had gone into effect finally reached Texas, and those who were enslaved in Texas were able to realize their freedom. And so we celebrate the beauty of blackness, we celebrate black culture on Juneteenth. But this year, because it falls on Father's Day, we wanted to do something special. We wanted to aim to celebrate Juneteenth by celebrating fathers, and particularly black fathers, and our roles in our culture, our roles in our community, and our churches. And so I asked that you guys would come and kind of help me have this discussion that day. Did you all know that research and data suggests that if a father leads their family to church regularly, 3/4 of their children will attend church as adults? And I know, Brother Terry, your father was actively involved in the church. The church was right next door to your house. And so can you speak to how seeing your dad model that before you and how active and involved he was in church, how that has affected you as you've grown up?
Yes, I literally grew up next door to the church. Wow. So to see my dad in church, I grew up in the AME, African American Episcopal Church. So my dad there, like the deacon in the Baptist church, my dad was the head steward. So seeing my dad as the head steward leading his family to church, I have 3 other siblings that we all grew up together. It really modeled the way for me as a man. I was prepared as a man to go into the military, to leave the nest, so to speak, and be prepared as a man and still hold true to my Christian values because of what my father taught me. Wow. You know, and going to church on Sunday morning, seeing him praying, you know, as the head steward, you know, Brother Lighty, you know, I want you to pray. Seeing him in Sunday school, you know, conducting Sunday school. So all of those things really, I have a servant's heart.
Yeah.
And I have a servant's heart today because of what my dad, what he modeled the way for me and my brother. So,
you know, I think one of the reasons why this discussion is so important is because of the history of black fathers being torn away from families.
Right.
From the transatlantic slave trade, from Jim Crow to the new Jim Crow of mass incarceration, fathers have been stripped away, and we need to restore and reaffirm what that looks like in our communities. Right. So here's a question. Speak to why you think that this Juneteenth Father's Day celebration is significant in light of our history and how we have been torn away from families in our history.
When you think about the Jim Crow era and you think about how the families, fathers have been torn away from their families, the word that comes to me is identity. And when I think about identity, this world system has identified the African American male as they have identified them as being unsuccessful. They have identified them as have a trajectory of not being in the home. And so we have to re-identify ourselves. Once we identify ourselves in God and realize who we really are, I think that we can discover and find out that we are the head and not the tail, as we always say. When I was growing up in high school, a lot of fads were coming about, you know, fads and styles and things were coming, and I didn't always have the latest style. I didn't always have the latest fad.
How about yourself, brother? Okay.
You know, I didn't always have the shoes and all like that, and I would always get picked on. And I would always get laughed at. You know, why? Because I was not included in that identity, you know, of the world, of that world system. As black men, as we begin to find out who we are, then we can identify about who God says who we are. In other words, we can live against the grain. And we discover that we can play on the field, that we can be scientists, that we can be doctors, that we can be pilots, we can do all those things, then the world is confused. Like, wait, oh, I thought you supposed to be over here. Well, no, we have re-identified ourselves, and now we understand who we are. And so I think it's very important that we explain to our young people that you don't have to live in the world system identity of who you are. You can live against the grain.